Well, that's good.
What about the environment? Because on the Potomac and all, I think they've had some successes, haven't they, with some of the, as far as quality of waters there?
Well, we're moving closer and closer to making progress on that, but not enough progress has been made. I'm a sailor, a lifelong sailor. I love to get out on a sailboat, and even if I only have a couple hours to tool around the Potomac for a little while, I love to do that. And it really kills me when I see a dead fish floating, and that's not an unusual thing. I can go out for a day of sailing and see many dead fish just floating on the surface. You know, the water is very, very polluted, and we need to do, again, everything that we can to clean that up and improve upon that, and make sure that we have protections in place to prevent more damage. Last year I did a lot with working with the Department of Environmental Quality and trying to empower them to be able to have real powers to affect, in this case it was landfills. I have a landfill in my district. It's very problematic. The people that live next to the landfill often have this rotten egg smell. They can't open up their windows in the summertime, and you know, their backyards are often polluted with some sort of a film. And so I've really tried to give DEQ the powers to do what needs to be done in those sorts of situations. As with a lot of things that happen around here, you have to come up with some compromises because you have the interests on both sides. And so we did come up with compromise legislation that's now law that hopefully has given DEQ some additional authority to do enforcement. But we do need to continue to do more.
Speaking of law enforcement, or enforcement rather, are the gangs an issue where you are? Hear some of that in the north. That's not the only place in Northern Virginia.
They are an issue. They're a very big issue, and that's just one component of the illegal immigration problem that we're having. But yes, gangs are taxing on our public safety resources. They're posing a public safety threat to our communities, and so we need to continue to do more to empower the local police and to do what we can to prevent more and more illegal immigrants coming into our community. But it's not just that. Virginia last year spent over $500 million on the illegal immigration issue. Not on the issue itself, but in paying for the impacts of illegal immigration. You know, when they go to a hospital, the hospital has to serve them, even if they don't have insurance. And so that's a huge cost to the taxpayer. That's who ends up paying for it, is the taxpayer.
And you're stressing illegal.
Illegal, absolutely. You have our school system, who is being flooded with children of illegal aliens, and we have an obligation to educate them. So they're coming to the schools and again flooding the schools and consuming some of those resources. And then again, on the quality of life issues I mentioned earlier, when you have a mother who's got her minivan full of her kids, wants to go to the 7-Eleven in the morning and get a cup of coffee in my district, if she were to do that, she would be literally accosted by 30 or 40 men up against her car, knocking on the window, looking for work. And I just don't think that's right. I think we need to enforce our immigration laws. And I'm very, you know, for some reason I've become sort of a spokesman on this issue because I'm the only member of the General Assembly of Virginia ever and currently that's from Hispanic, that's Hispanic. And my mother's an immigrant. My entire family is from Colombia. My mother's from Colombia. And I feel very strongly about the issue just because I know exactly what my mother went through to come here, to follow the rules, to make a life for herself and for me and my sister by following the rules, obeying our laws. And so many other millions of immigrants, of legal immigrants in this country have done the same. And we have millions of people abroad that want to come here, that are filling out the paperwork, going to the embassies, trying to get the visas, paying the fees. And among those millions of people are people in my family that want to come here. But they don't just jump across the line and say, okay, we're here, now we're going to take advantage of it. They're waiting their turn, again, following the rules, respecting our laws. And I think that that's an important stress. And the things that we're proposing in the General Assembly with regards to illegal immigration, they're not anti-immigrant. They're not anti-immigrant at all. In fact, I think they're pro-immigrant.
Well, you're a good person for that because you've lived it.
That's right.
The families live
Well, they're pro-immigrant, I believe, because they're providing more resources to those who came here the right way. And they're also providing, they're leaving more opportunity for those citizens that are here. and our legal residents. So, you know, we need to make sure that we reward those who have done the right thing and not reward those who have not done the right thing.
Well, what is this doing to education? This impact of immigration also. I mean, you talk about hospital and so forth.
That's right. Well, like I said,
stress education?
It very much is stressing education. We have a large number of children of illegal aliens flooding our schools to the point where our schools can't keep up. We have a lot of issues in our schools where the ESOL programs, the non-English speaker programs, are just exploding. Again, that requires more resources. That takes resources away from the other students that are there. And then we have increased, I guess, you mentioned the gang problem also, but that also impacts our schools as well.
Community colleges, tell us about that in your district.
I have Northern Virginia Community College Woodbridge campus in my district, and we're very supportive of it. We've dealt with some legislation this year. Delegate Klein proposed some legislation that would allow community college community college students to transfer directly into a Virginia four-year university if they have a certain grade point average, and well, if they have a certain grade point average, that they would be able to go directly, and that would provide more opportunities to those folks. And you know,
you're talking about the flagship universities and so forth. They'd be able to
our
attain
public colleges and universities. That's right. And,
William Murray's and University of Virginia.
University of Virginia, Virginia Tech. All of our public colleges, and our state-supported colleges and universities. So I think the community college system we have is excellent, particularly in Northern Virginia. But we need to allow and provide the opportunities for those students that are in those colleges in Northern Virginia, well, in our community colleges, to be able to continue to move on and succeed. You know, no different from any other educational opportunities that we want to provide all of our children and students in Virginia.
George Mason, though, has really become famous, hasn't it? George Mason University.
It sure has. It's not in my district, but a lot of people go to it. And you know, the law school, which I have more experience with because I have so many friends and colleagues that have been going to George Mason University of Law, and it's a great school, and I think they're doing a great job.
Is this citizen legislature, is that becoming too stressed, the time you're spending?
I think the concept of a citizen legislature is great. I really think that it's important that we as legislators have the opportunity to return to our communities and to our regular jobs and live under the same rules that we're setting for everybody else, and to also, you know, sort of have that same perspective as our citizens, because again, we're living the same life as everybody else, and I think that's important. But I also think that perhaps we need to revisit how we do things around here. It's very, very compressed. 60 days, or even worse, 45 days to deal with over 2,700 pieces of legislation, to pass a budget, and to try to attempt to give everything a fair hearing. It's very, very, very fast-paced, and we often make mistakes. You remember, I think last year we had to return for a one-day special session to correct the blue law error that the legislature made. That was a big error. It's not every day that would come into a special session to fix a problem. But a lot of the little errors are then fixed up in subsequent years. But there's got to be a better way, not to quote the Governor Kane in his response to the State of the Union, but there is got to be a better way with how we do things in the General Assembly with regards to the session. You know, maybe we could come in for 2 weeks and then leave for 2 weeks, and that would give us more time to really review the legislation, get back to our homes and businesses and families, without having to leave them alone for 60 days or 45 days. Whatever it is, I think it's important that we continue to maintain the citizen legislature that we have, as Jefferson contemplated and implemented, in fact, in Virginia. But I think we need to find another way to improve upon it, because I think the current system is kind of about ready to explode.
Well, as you take a lot of time, committee meetings, so a long day is. Certainly do want to thank you for taking your time.